Atomic Heart is an upcoming game from Mundfish and Focus Home Entertainment, and I'm unreasonably excited for it. I'm not really the type of person who gets hyped for upcoming releases, and most of the time, I'm not even someone who watches a whole lot of coverage on games after I'm sure that I'm going to play it. But for some reason, I just can't stop thinking about this game. Let's hop in and talk about what we know concerning my personal most anticipated title, Atomic Heart. Atomic Heart comes from developer Mundfish. Mundfish is described as a Russian team headquartered in Cyprus, but they also have team members all over the world. Mundfish previously made a VR game called Soviet Luna Park and launched it in early access. They later pulled the game, resulting in quite a bit of controversy, but later promised individuals who had purchased it that they would receive Atomic Heart for free. More than 120 people have been working on the game across nearly 6 years, according to Mundfish's website. As of May of 2022, 9 months before the release of the game, more than 630,000 hours of work was said to have been performed to date. Now, it didn't take me anywhere near 630,000 hours to do this video, but I did put a little bit of time into researching and editing it, and I plan to do some more coverage on Atomic Heart before it releases. So if you like what you're seeing, you want to see more, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and leave a like. Atomic Heart is set in an alternative reality of the 1950s. In this alternate reality, robots were being heavily developed before and during World War II with the use of a new polymer discovered in the 1930s. Of course, like all robots gone wrong origin stories, these robots were initially intended to help citizens of a war-torn country and to rebuild the nation, after enabling them to defeat the Nazis in 1941. Well, fast forward a few years, and new technology has advanced. One piece of technology, dubbed the polymer assimilative adaptation, has enabled the technology to be embedded into human brains in order to remote control the robots, as well as, of course, study the brains in which the devices are implanted. This interface goes on to be called simply thoughts, and is soon to be implanted in the brains of all USSR citizens in order to achieve the so-called utopian dream. As you may have guessed, these robots have rebelled against the humans, and now must be stopped. The person to do it is a special agent named Major Nichaev, nicknamed P3, which is what I'll be calling him of course, who is undergoing his own issues with a deteriorating mental state due to a combat injury. He's sent secretly by the creator of the neuropolymer to find out exactly what's going on. Atomic Heart is described as an FPS action role-playing game. The developers at Mundfish have said that the game will be an open-world title, but they've also taken great care to issue careful statements that there is a strict linear plot, although some discussion was had years ago about multiple endings. The game takes place in different areas of Plant 3826 and have been described with words like vast and sprawling. But these areas are still somewhat contained if other descriptors of the title are to be believed. Players will take on the role of previously mentioned Special Agent P3, who's been tasked with finding out exactly what's going on in Plant 3826. It's clear that Atomic Heart has a heavy emphasis on story and lore, but the real focus of all the trailers that Mundfish has published recently has been focused on gameplay and action. As mentioned on the Atomic Heart website, you will have to fight a lot. A special combat glove that harnesses the polymer technology will be at the player's disposal. Though we haven't been given a deep dive into this glove, from the trailers we can see that it will enable P3 to freeze, electrify, control gravity, set things on fire, grab loot, heal, and even reach into the butts of robots or something like that. The powers that the glove allows, as well as the dual-hand combat approach, have made many individuals, myself included, jump to say that Atomic Heart has a lot of BioShock energy. With each new trailer we see, though, I'm growing a little bit less and less sure that there's a lot of connection between the combat systems of the iconic franchise of BioShock and Atomic Heart, but the spirit of it still does seem to be there. There's also a large array of traditional-looking Soviet-era guns, all the way up to futuristic devices of robot destruction. Whether the weapon's big or small, players should have no issue kicking lots of robot ass. If you're like me, Melee is a huge draw for you, and Mundfish has you covered in spades. Harnessing the perfect attack with a combination of your polymer glove and a hammer, an axe, and some medieval-looking weapons, it'll hopefully end up in the brutal destruction of all your foes. Although we haven't gotten a ton of information on how crafting or hacking will work in the game, we have gotten confirmation that both will exist. Players will be able to interact with a device that uses collected parts lying around the post-war landscape in order to craft and modify weapons. In addition, there's no doubt in my mind that the polymer glove P3 wears will also be able to be upgraded and modified to your heart's content. Though I'm not using the footage in this video, there was some leaked gameplay recently that showed more hacking mechanics to access areas, as well as the game's website mentioning studying and hacking enemies being necessary in order to not draw more attention to ourselves. Whatever the hacking system consists of, it's sure to add some more features to the already packed gameplay of Atomic Heart. In addition to Mundfish's in-house team, music for the game will be crafted by none other than industry legend Mick Gordon. If you aren't aware, Mick has created music for some of gaming's most iconic franchises, such as Doom 2016, Doom Eternal, Prey, the more recent Wolfenstein games, Killer Instinct, and more. While the trailers have been packed full of music from some of Russia's most popular artists, Atomic Heart will be serenading and rocking us to robot destruction through the sweet tunes of Mick Gordon's signature sound. After years of development and a few delays, Atomic Heart will officially release on February 21st. The game will come to PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, the Xbox One, as well as PC. You can pre-order the game now if that's your thing, and even choose from several different editions of the title. Atomic Heart will also be launching on Xbox Game Pass the same day that it hits all platforms. Now I know this video is entitled Everything We Know, but there's a lot of stuff that's still yet to be talked about. I mean, for one, we didn't talk at all about the car stuff that we've seen in the recent trailer. And then there's those dancing robot ladies. They just like grow a horn out of their head and stab each other. Something's going on. I didn't even mention that. And of course, there's a couple of other characters we keep seeing through all these trailers that we don't have any idea what they're all about. If we get more info, I'll be sure to do another video. Make sure you're subscribed to know when they go live. I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time.